Baseball playoffs, perhaps more than any other playoffs, the ball is going to find your weak spot. The baseball gods will find your weak spot. If you can't hit lefties, that moment will come to a head in a baseball playoff. If you don't have the lefties out of your bullpen, that moment will come to roost in the playoffs. The Red Sox have a problem at third base. Rafael Devers had a ball eat him up the other day. That's the way the baseball playoffs go. The ball will always find your weakness in the baseball playoffs, unlike any other sport. Sure, in basketball, if you can't defend at the top of the key, the other team will pick and roll your head off. But that's an X's and O's. If you have a linebacker then can't cover, then in an X and O way, the offense will scheme you into a defensive position that will be costly. That's X's and O's. In baseball, it's just the ball's going to find you. And last night, the ball found the weakness of a stadium and the weakness of an ump. Now, let's take this one step at a time. Mookie Betts, in my mind, absolutely was going to catch that baseball last night off the bat of Jose Altuve in the first inning. And Mookie Betts, if he isn't such a stud athlete, right fielder, jumping for the ball in the manner in which he jumped, then that's a home run pretty much for anybody else. Now, Aaron Judge is much taller than Mookie Betts and played that right field in the ALCS last year as well. But Betts leaping for that ball and making a play on it, he absolutely was going to catch that ball. And then the fan in right field, guy from Atlanta who came home from Atlanta, flew from Atlanta back to Houston where he's a big Astros fan. I guess he's from Houston too. But he lives in Atlanta, flew in for the game. His hand closed Mookie Betts' glove. Betts was going to catch it. In my mind, I do not feel any doubt that he was going to catch that baseball. But was his glove over the fence? Was it in the field of play? I've seen this replay a million times over, and I can't tell. You can't compare it to Jeffrey Mayer, because that kid definitely leaned over the fence, and there's no doubt about it.
Right.
And Richie Garcia, who also was an ump that took a lot of heat for making it about himself and not getting a lot of calls right, was the guy in right field, and he was right there. Like, I don't know how the hell he missed that. He was perfectly positioned. You know who definitely wasn't? Because not only was he not in the frame, and he's a guy that couldn't even be bothered to move out of the way of a ball hitting him in front of second base the other night, is Joe West. Joe West you put him on the stand right now and you'd say, Joe, you definitely saw that ball was beyond the fence? Was he down the line to see it? No chance. No chance. Now, here's the interference rule in Major League Baseball. No interference shall be allowed when a fielder reaches over a fence, railing, rope, or into a stand to catch a ball. He does so at his own risk. Growing up in New York City, going to Yankee Stadium, going to Yankee games, it was always known. And you guys, being East Coast guys, know this too. If a ball's in the stands and somebody's reaching into it, you do not let the fielder go get that baseball. Period. End of story. It is going to be a Mad Max movie to try and get that baseball. No way. You don't back up. Let the guy go into the stands and reach in.
Unless it's your guy.
If it's your guy, you back up. Of course.
Your guy, you back away.
That's the home stadium advantage.
Exactly.
Growing up, it's like if that ball's in the stands, I'm sorry, there's going to be some interference.
Free for all.
Exactly. Now in Houston, that wall's for some reason 7 feet tall. What are they doing out there? And then Joe West is the possible. Like he's so far afield. He has no way. We just showed a wide shot.
He was sort of jogging.
He was kind of jogging.
He was like sort of making the effort.
He was maybe 40% away from the I mean, if you've got 100% of the distance between first and the right field foul pole, he was a little bit more than halfway. There's no way he could tell if that ball was over the fence when he did it. and he ruled that it was interference. Yes, absolutely Betts was interfered with, and absolutely his chance to catch that baseball was altered. There's no doubt about it. But was it over the fence? So he ruled on the spot that it was interference. Then they go and they review it. And how many times have I said here for weeks, baseball's got to make the umps talk to the fans. Because the fans in the stadium, I was at Dodger Stadium yesterday. There were 2 replays in the first inning. Not a single time did it show on the board whether a call stood or was upheld. Because as we all know as football fans, and we all know watching these games as MLB does let the broadcasters know whether a call stands or is upheld. The difference is if it stands, there's no visual evidence to overturn what was on the field. If it's upheld, then they have had visual evidence to keep the call on the field. So the call stood, meaning after 2 minutes of looking at this, the baseball front office said the call stands. We can't tell. You can't tell. Problem is, the guy on the field was so far away, and he's so arrogant. I've been told he's such a nice guy, I guess, in real life. Joe West. But he comes across as so arrogant.
Yeah.
He is the worst umpire to be making this call. And to make it even worse, MLB does what the NFL does, which is makes somebody who makes a controversial call or is the head official, he's the crew chief, speak to a pool reporter after the game.
Right, available.
Pool reporter went back and forth with him. He goes, here's the whole play. He hit the ball to right field. He jumped to try to make a catch. The fan interfered with him over the playing field. That's why I called spectator interference. Question, so it's clear in your mind, Joe West? Yes. Was there a single call that you saw that the replay official saw on replay that confirmed Joe West cuts off the questioner? I don't know what he saw. The replay official said I was right. No, Joe, he did not say you were right. He said there was no way that we could tell if your call, as you are jogging towards the call about 100 feet away, whether it was right or not. So what's Joe West trying to do here? Say that he's right or the call was right? Or does he not understand what replay is? That's why I'm saying you got to make the umpires talk, because we as fans wonder, do the umps even know what they are doing? And then when you have guys like Joe West, like Angel Hernandez, and I know that there's a union, but there's a fan base, and there's also something called customer service, and these people should not be trotting down right field lines making big calls like this. Now, to A.J. Hinch's credit, he said after the game that even though it was a 2-run difference, that's not the reason why they lost. The Astros, if I'm not mistaken, had not one but 2 leads after that. They
Correct.
blew each one of them. They couldn't come up with timely hits, and that Mookie Betts is dynamite. Dynamite. Because if he doesn't make the play in right field in the 8th inning, maybe the the Astros score enough runs on Kimbrel right then and there, because they did put 2 runners on after that.
Yep.
If he doesn't leap for that ball, I mean, he ran a long way and made an incredible leap to put himself in position. Absolutely would have caught that ball. I do not doubt it.
I think so too.
And he's always on base. He's always putting pressure on you. This kid is unbelievable. He's the best player left in the playoffs. He should be the MVP of the year. And he probably would have been anyway. But this guy's going to lead them to the World Series. And look out, Los Angeles. He's coming here too.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.